6:05, sorry for the delay, so it's time to call the Village of Terrace Park Council meeting of February 13, 2024 to order. If you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, could you please call the roll?
Gasky,
Here.
Ingebrigtsen. Here. Lehman. LeMay.
Here.
Lindell. Sharp.
Here. Thank you. For all you people out there viewing all over the world, the telephone call that I received was from Councilman Lindell, who was tied up with a work call, and he is on his way right now to participate and cast his votes accordingly. So we will adjust a little bit here, but we do have the minutes of the January 9 meeting. Everyone had a chance to review? Any corrections, suggestions, or deletions? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Lyons. Are there any residents out there that would like to address council? If there are, please step to the podium, give us your name and your address, and tell us what it is you want us to hear. Seeing none, I was hoping that would give us a little bit more time, Mr. Lindell. You sure you don't want to say something?
I'll drag out my report.
I would hope that you would. I don't have much of a report, but reports of village officials, I don't have a whole lot, except to report that for the 8 years and 2 months that I have sat in this chair, the thing that I most look forward to is maybe my favorite thing I get to do is speak to Mrs. Parker's third grade class about government. It is a hoot. It is, Jerry and I have done it. It is so funny, and it's great, the questions that they ask. You ask them how much money you think that the village, spends every year. It's $150,000, it's $200,000, it's, oh my God, it's $1 million, and they're surprised to find out that it's $2 million. Mm-hmm. And it's great because the kids write questions, and from time to time, you can tell that their parents have written questions. So, I was very quick to let them know that unfortunately sewer doesn't appear to be a reality, so they can, whoever has that question, start thinking of a new one. And we're probably not gonna put a stop sign in at the end of their street, so just move on to that one. But, the questions are great. Jerry's great, and, of course, I get asked every year how much the mayor makes. And that's always a big item for them, $2,500 a year. That's a lot of money for them, and it's a lot of money for a lot of people. But it was great, and they were very well behaved, and they had actually some of the best questions that I can recall over the years. What laws should we get rid of? What law is broken the most? There was one that just blew me away, and I'm like, "There's no way you wrote that," but it was very, very good. So,
What was the?
I gotta remember, Jerry. Do you remember what it was? I was like, "Holy wow!"
Jerry probably had the great questions asked to him, though.
No, I mean, somebody had asked me something like, "Is there anything that what is your most proud accomplishment?" I said, "I don't think I've ever had one, but is there anything that I've regretted?" And I gave him what I thought, as I thought on the spot, was the answer. Sometimes a knee-jerk reaction on an isolated incident, is something I look back and say, maybe we could have, tempered that a little bit and seen how it rolled out. But, luckily we have not done anything of any great regret. But if it comes to me, I'll chime in later. But so that was the highlight of last Friday. They loved the new floor. The weather's nice, but don't be fooled. More inclement weather, I'm sure, between now and springtime. So the guys are going to be out there busting their hump, doing the best job that they always do. So, but also the kids are out there. I saw they're out there running stop signs and complete utter disregard for general safety. So just keep in mind that you have to see them because you can't count on them seeing you. But it's great that they're out there running around in t-shirt and shorts when it's 50. Other than that, I don't think that I have anything else to report. So we'll move on to the Chief Fiscal Officer, Mrs. Lyons.
No report, thank you.
Solicitor, Mr. Forbes.
Thank you, Mayor. Couple of items.
Please.
Tonight.
Some of you have had the opportunity, some of you have not, but I would like to take a minute, introduce Kristen Wade, who's new attorney in our office. She's been helping me on a number of our local government projects, and she's coming around with me just to meet some council members and see, and I told her tonight she will see how real local government is done. So,
Real local
and
government.
so far, it's been, I'm sure, a enlightening experience. So Kristen is here. Say hello to her at some point. The only other thing as a way of a report, and it's kind of a no report, is, I think you've adopted the moratorium on adult use cannabis. Again, there are some bills that are pending out there that may make some changes to that law. None of them have passed yet. Nothing has made its way to the governor. So as we sit here now, the statute that was approved by the voters, that was on the ballot, that is the law that we have today. So, and we're operating accordingly. We'll continue to monitor and see if there are changes, and at some point, it'll be for council to decide if you want to take any action, what action do you want to take.
I mean, there's several bills that are competing bills, or is it just one main bill?
Nah, I mean, the last I looked, at one point, there had been 3 different bills introduced. A couple of them I don't think are gonna go anywhere. And the truth is, even the ones that may have some legs don't really change much about how local authority or how local operations would work.
Isn't it how the tax would be
Yeah,
distributed?
a lot of it has to do with how the taxes will be distributed. The only thing that would have any local potential law enforcement issue is I can't remember which bill it was in, but one of them proposed to do away with the home grow portion.
It's currently, it's like 6 plants per adult? Per household?
It's 6 plants per adult per household, but a maximum of 12. So only mom and dad can have 6 each.
I think if mom and dad have 6 each, they're doing just fine.
So that's a change.
4 adults.
Pardon me?
If you have an apartment of 4 adults, only 2 of them.
Jeez, I don't know where you put them.
And then, well, and actually, even under the existing law, that's a good example. If you have an apartment of 4 adults, it is permitted for landlords to, if it's part of the lease, they can actually prohibit that anyway, because it's a rental property. So, again, most of the things that are pending out there don't really change much about how the local authority would work. So I'll continue to keep you posted, but at a certain point,
We have to do something.
yeah, council may want to decide to do something, not do something, however you want.
And if I recall correctly, the moratorium was just on a dispensary, correct? It didn't affect anything else? My memories.
Yeah, but that was for medical grade.
Yeah, so the moratorium that council adopted was for adult use operators.
Selling it out.
Well, actually, the way it's defined in the statute, adult use operators include the retail dispensaries, the cultivators, and the processors.
The growing and selling.
The growing, processing, and selling. Right now, that's all under the moratorium.
But what is not under the moratorium is the individual's right? Is that correct?
Oh, correct, yeah,
An
you,
adult
absolutely.
individual's right to use marijuana.
Yeah, it's tricky right now because the law right now is that adults 21 and over have the right to possess and use up to certain amounts of adult use cannabis. The issue is because there are no approved dispensaries yet, because the whole state process, they have to create a whole licensing process. There are no licensed recreational dispensaries yet. So, yeah, you can have it, but you didn't buy it in Ohio. Or, I mean, you didn't buy it from a legal licensed retail dispensary. So, but there's really not much to be done about that.
So can you use it and drive?
Nope.
Okay, so all the cars that pass us by are not doing that
Shouldn't
legally?
be doing it
Okay.
anyway, but even
Got it.
under the new law, that, yeah, you cannot. In
I'm sure it's
fact,
their incense, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you cannot use it while you're
Probably always
driving, you can't
medicinal.
use it in open
Okay.
spaces, you can't use it on government-owned property, so if you have even if you're allowed to do it outside, you can't do it in a park, a publicly owned park.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we'll keep monitoring that, and then, at a certain point, there'll be a decision to make. Good. That would conclude my report.
Thank you very much. Mr. Lindell, I informed everyone that this is not your full-time job, that you have another job, and that you are detained by that job, and so you were able to do both that job and the people's business, so welcome.
For deterrence is good.
What's that? Clerk of Council, Mrs. Lyons.
I just added the last 2 years of resolutions and ordinances on our website. Everything else is, prior to that, is available in the office, but if you're bored and you want to read them, help yourself.
Interesting.
Always available, yeah.
Always available. Appreciate it much. EMS Chief John Maggard.
Thank you, Mayor. Class is doing well, including tonight. I think they're in their 6th or 8th session right now, but everything's going well. Other than that, no report.
Great. Fire Chief Dronsfield.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm happy to report I have 8 new firefighters taking the state exam tomorrow. So fingers crossed, we get all 8 to pass, and we'll have 8 new firefighters to swear in soon.
Great. There we go. Appreciate it much.
Other than that, end of my report.
Police Chief Administrator Gerald Hayhoe.
Thanks, Your Honor. I am happy to report that we finally sold the 30-year-old pumper. The 93 was sold at the Hamilton County surplus auction for $6,000. Madison Tree Service was the low bidder on the tree stump removals, because I know we're getting a lot of phone calls because they've been sitting a while. So there's been a bid process. Excuse me. Madison Tree was low. Work should begin soon. According to this bid specifications, all work must be completed by March 12th of '24, so in a month.
How many stumps?
We have 29, I believe.
So they will grind and then they will remove the grindings?
That's correct. And
It's
I
probably
will-
in 2 different processes or at the same
We'll
time?
do it at the same time, but
Okay.
yes. And I will have the maintenance department with a load of topsoil, fill them back in. And then, new trees will be planted in the spring. Fall, I'm sorry, in the fall.
Got it.
Let's see, one more thing. I had our maintenance crew remove the old telephone poles down at the log cabin in the parking lot there and replace them with new posts. The posts are like the ones down at the Miami Grove, so it looks like a park down there and not an old telephone pole trip hazard, so it looks a lot better, and like I said, you can walk between them, and I think it kind of spruces up the lot there, so.
Sure does.
It's good. And that's the end of my report.
Oh, thank you.
And the floor.
What's
The
that?
floor.
Oh, yeah. That's old business.
All right. Let's see, any member of council outside of their committee? All right, moving on here. Planning and zoning, Mr. Gasky.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. This is the 14th month in a row that there has been no new variance applications to the village. So the next zoning meeting will be March 18th.
How many months in a row?
14 months. It's a new track record, is what I've been told. So, yes. So people are following the rules. And besides the 2 left knees that we have on this side of the bench, that's the end of my report.
The bionic men over there. We appreciate it. Finance, Mr. Lemay.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 2 resolutions, and I want to give an update on the Elm Street Water Line Grant. The first resolution is something we do every year, most of the time twice a year, and I want to thank Katie for doing this. It's simply to ask Hamilton County to advance our tax revenues as soon as possible. This means is we get our money upwards of 30 days earlier, sometimes more. Given we're earning 5% on our money, it's meaningful. So Katie, thank you for doing that. Unless there's any questions? No. I would like to introduce and advance the third reading Resolution 2-1, 2024, resolution requesting the county auditor to make tax advances during the year 2024 pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code, Section 321.34, and declaring an emergency.
Second. Gasky.
Aye.
Ingebrigtsen. Aye. Lemay.
Aye.
Lindell.
Aye.
Sharp.
Aye.
I move to adopt the resolution as an emergency.
Second?
Gasky.
Aye.
Ingebrigtsen. Aye. Lemay.
Aye.
Lindell.
Aye.
Sharp.
Aye.
Great, thanks, Katie. The second resolution, we also renew our risk management insurance every year about this time. And I'm happy to report, and I think large part because of Jerry and John and Steve's risk management program and their training program, that we continue to get very low risk management insurance rates. This year, it's $31,000. The good news is we got $1 million of additional coverage because our capital assets have been increased in value, and the increase was only $466. If you're familiar with generally all insurance rates over the last year, insurance rates have gone way up. So this is a real feather in your guys' cap for what you're doing. So,
That's great.
good. I'd like to introduce and advance the third reading Resolution 2-2, 2024, authorizing continued insurance coverage for the Village of Terrace Park under the Ohio Government Risk Management Plan, and authorizing payment of a premium in an amount not to exceed $31,030 and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Gasky.
Aye.
Ingebrigtsen. Aye. Lemay.
Aye.
Lindell.
Aye.
Sharp.
Aye.
I move to adopt the resolution as an emergency.
Second.
Gasky.
Aye.
Ingebrigtsen. Aye. Lemay.
Aye.
Lindell.
Aye.
Sharp.
Aye.
Great, thank you, guys. An update on the Elm Street water line, just want to make sure everybody's clear. The Appropriations Committee approved our grant request. So we are getting $400,000. I want to make sure everybody knows that. The issue is that our government hasn't passed a budget yet. That was due in October. The continuing resolutions don't count. Last update I got was somewhere in the next 30, 45 days, they will pass it. So just confirming, we're gonna get $400,000. We will owe $100,000 for this project. The money is coming, but it's gonna be sometime, probably later, middle of this year, before we'd see it, which means the work probably couldn't start till 2025. Meanwhile, cost will have gone up a bit.
Oh, for
but
sure.
We'll tackle that when we come to it, but just so everybody's clear, we will get the money. Okay? End of my report.
I remember one of the questions that the kids asked. How does the village get its money? I said, well, as I said before, through real estate taxes and some other taxes. No, how do you get it? And it's appropriate that I said, we get it twice a year. I thought that was a very interesting question.
Yeah.
I had to look to Jerry to say, what's the answer?
The ATM.
Let's go to UDF and get his cashier's check for $2 million. Buildings and grounds, Mrs. Sharp.
Okay, I want to give an update on the mural below the bridge on the bike path. So everybody know exactly where we're talking about. So it's the Elm Street overpass underneath along the bike trail. So we had a buildings and grounds meeting, and we talked with Mrs. Scribner from Marymount High School, and we went through the questions that we had, and they were questions relative to timing, quality. Timing is a week in March. I think it's like the third week in March.
In May.
May. The other M. The quality of paint, and she's gonna be careful, to get paint that will hopefully be long-lasting and easily cleaned if that's possible. There will be 3 adults supervising the number of kids that are there. The remedy for vandalism, and she said that she will be down there to, paint over something, and if worse comes to worse and it's really bad, then she will, they'll just paint it gray. Let's see, they're gonna also rent the community building for the week. So in case the weather's bad or they need a place to go to the bathroom or have lunch or it's really hot, they'll use the community building as kind of their off-site space. So, and then there's potentially, if we have anything else we want them to do, they might have extra time to have the kids do some stuff for us, if anybody.
It's already out of
Jerry,
building.
Jerry, got any ideas?
We got fire hydrants to paint.
Summer's coming up, there'll be plenty of volunteers for that, I'm sure.
So, they're gonna move ahead with it, I'm excited. I think we showed this one other time, but this is an early rendering, I don't know if it's
I
gonna
don't
be,
recall seeing this.
so, yeah. So,
Had you seen it? Yeah.
yeah, you guys, I think we're both in the.
Will you
meeting,
pass that down? I'd like to
Yeah.
see. I think she passed that out when we were here.
So, does anybody have any questions about that? Okay, well, I think it'll be exciting and nice and,
Very happy.
yeah. So that's all I have for my report.
Okay. Rules of law, Mrs. Lehman. She is not here, however.
I am standing in for Mrs.
Figured as
Lehman
much.
tonight. So the Rules and Law Committee met to discuss the posting of, the publications of postings. Right now, we post on the village bulletin boards, and is that required protocol, or what is the going forward protocol, and do we need to do that? Do we need to move more into the next century as far as our postings? So, we had a lot of discussion around what were the possibilities, and let me see if I have that. We talked about whether, let's see, so I think where whether we want to continue with the postings, or we want to move it over to the Village Green, or what were the other options, whether we could do to the website, or post here, or in the office. And what we decided was, we're going to post on the website, and we're going to post in the village administration office. And if anyone, we'll post, that's what we'll move to, and if people have issues or come back and complain, we can reevaluate it again, but that will make it available to everybody. We talked about Code Red, but everybody's not on Code Red, and we talked about TP List, but TP List is not a village sanctioned communication vehicle. So we felt like those were the best options, and so right now, this is just gonna be a first reading, so anybody can comment on it if they have any big issues with it, and we'll come back again next month, So I would like to introduce for the first reading ordinance number 2-1-24, ordinance amending section 10-19A of the Terrace Park Codified Ordinance regarding publication by posting.
I have a question for lawyer guy. This is my lawyer hat on. If no newspaper is generally circulated in the municipality, would the Cincinnati Enquirer be considered a newspaper circulated within the municipality?
No. I'm getting the.
I'm just,
Does our Village Views not count as a?
I don't know. It just says if no newspaper is generally, I just caught
Couldn't get it there in
my
a
eye.
timely manner with the 15-day posting.
Like, I know that for example, in work that we have had together, where you have to do a notice in the newspaper, right? The Enquirer is where we would put it, because it was in general circulation in Sims Township.
And it does satisfy that for certain things. For purposes of this, I think the last thing we had that qualified for that was,
The
Like
Eastern Hills
bids, I
Journal.
mean, when they have to be out for 7
Yeah.
days and we have to get it out right away, we use the Enquirer. We were able to use the Eastern Hills Journal, or
Yeah.
Press, whatever it was at the time, because it was a weekly newspaper. Unfortunately, this is 11 times a year to begin with, and it's once a month
This being
for the Village
Views.
Views. And so, by the time that folks would see it, it may be past the 15 days, or it may be past the 30 days, and they would have no ability to comment.
Yeah.
With having it right at their fingertips and right at the village office, then we have the ability to get the information out quickly.
And it's
And
cardboard,
everybody
not
has
newspaper.
access.
Yes, everybody.
Doesn't feel like newspaper, it's more cardboard. Just a question that I had, but we are covered.
we are. And the truth is, even though you're a statutory village, you still have constitutional home rule authority to decide your procedural issues, and one of them is how you want to post adopted legislation.
This makes sense. Are there any other villages or municipalities that you're aware of that still go through the 5 postings on the boards, or are we just catching up?
You're catching up, but you're not that far behind. I mean, yeah, another community, the last one that I remember that still did that, that nobody could even remember what the 5 places were that they were supposed to be posting them. So it's an antiquated concept, in what has become much more of a digital age anyway.
Terrace Park on the forefront of,
You are.
of local government. Thank you. Anything else? I didn't.
Just a quick question. Has there been any discussions about removing the actual, the locations where the postings are?
We had that discussion.
I think, yes, we need to do that.
Are we gonna wait
Do we?
until we get
Oh,
through
yeah,
the
yeah, no,
readings?
until this becomes law, and it'll be 30 days after the 3rd reading.
Yeah.
So it'll be 6 months from now.
Something to think of, maybe you keep it at the green or something like that. I mean, the one down by the tunnel, I mean, you're turning off at State Route 50. You can't even see it.
I tried to.
It's great, awesome. So anyway, that's just something to think about, which ones to keep,
Yeah,
which
right.
ones to get rid of, but I would imagine most of them could go.
I mean, we
Yeah,
discussed,
I would say that all of them can go except for this one down here. I mean, I'd like to see it, preserved.
Yeah.
Whether that be taken up to the village green at some point.
Right.
Or, moved from its current location to more of a, but again, it's one of those things that you kind of have to police it. So you never know what people are gonna put up there.
Never know. All right. Moving on, Public Works, Mr. Lindell.
thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, apologize for being late, but no report.
Thank you. Public Safety, Mrs. Ingebrigtsen.
Thank you, Mayor. No report.
We'll look at that. Any continued business? Any new business? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
I think we could give it to the Historical Society
What, the
bulletin board, the one down here.